You're listening to 92.1 West Coast Radio 2, the Gambia's news.
Wednesday, the 28th of September, 2022. It's 8 a.m. in the Gambia, and therefore coffee time with me, Peter Gomez. We're coming to you live on West Coast Radio 92.1, courtesy of OIC.
Gambia may be the smallest country in Africa, but it will host the second largest gathering of world leaders in 2022. To successfully host the OIC Summit, the government of the Gambia set up OIC Gambia to mobilize resources for the implementation of key development and infrastructure projects on a scale never seen before. 20 new roads will be constructed across the country, and the Bertel-Harding Highway will be expanded into a dual carriage highway of 2 lanes on each side from the airport to Sting Corner. All people in the Gambia deserve clean water and a constant flow of electricity. Therefore, an entirely new water system will be constructed, including new transmission and distribution networks to meet the increasing demand. In order to provide a more reliable supply of electricity, the OIC Gambia project will replace and double the capacity of the NAWEC transformers and overhead electric cables. We will equip the police with modern apparatus and technical training in an effort to keep the streets of the Gambia safe. OIC Gambia, building today for a better tomorrow.
And coming up this morning, unemployment is blamed for turning Gambian youths to drugs and crime. A young lawmaker concerned with the rate of road accidents slams insurance companies for their policies on victim compensation. The West African Health Organization supports the Gambia's rapid response to health emergencies, and the Gambia joins the rest of the world in marking another World Rabies Day. Those are our main stories. We also have the day's news from the newspaper front pages. Thanks, as always, for joining us. The Gambia Revenue Authority, GRA, informs all contract givers and service providers that withholding tax is an obligation under the Income and VAT Act 2012. Withholding tax is a deduction made by the employer or contract giver from the total amount due to the service provider. Payment, which is to be made at a domestic tax office or GRA partner bank, must be accompanied by a duly completed form and be made by the 15th of the month subsequent to the deduction. The withholding rate is 10% for resident contractors or service providers and 15% for non-resident contractors. No service provider is exempted from withholding tax except where provided for by the Act. For further clarification on withholding tax, contact the Domestic Tax Office 3658692 or 9911355. GRA, collecting revenue for national development. The Point leads our newspaper front page review this morning with these headlines. Police urged to tackle rising pickpocketing at Westfield. Police revealed that the suspected robbery case involving Chinese was staged. Honorable Jame calls for immediate intervention to fix Bundung Highway, KMC to construct 7 parks, and Gambia and Japan hold talks to boost bilateral trade. From Foraya, women of Bundung plan to protest against NAWEC. Government official says employment policy envisages the creation of 150,000 job opportunities. Barrow to meet with security chiefs over the safety of citizens, and President Barrow describes protesters in New York as UDP supporters. This is from The Voice. Barrow slams U.S. Gambian protesters and calls them UDP supporters. Gambia registers 382 fatal accidents in 2022. National Assembly members demand stringent mitigation measures. National Assembly refers government's 2019 audited accounts to FPAC for consideration. Tumanjai advocates for re-election of Rohi Malik Low and Talib Ahmed Bensouda. And Dudu Jah says security sector reform has contributed to the country's insecurity. And finally, the Standard's front page. Barrow claims UDP are behind New York protest. FPAC says only Accountant General can collect state revenues, not third parties. Gambian awarded for services to the Jola victims recalls disaster. Busumbala National Assembly member urges IGP to grant permission for peaceful protests. And Siddharth Job says Gambia needs modern port in Barra to be competitive. And that's your press review this morning. Thanks to Foraya, The Standard, The Point, and The Voice.
Gambia, this is great news. Do you have a good business plan? Do you have what it takes to be the next big entrepreneur? If your answer is yes, then the Gambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry, GCCI, will make this dream come true. GCCI presents for the first time ever televised business plan competition, also known as the Kir Jula Challenge. Imagine winning seed capital from $50,000 to $150,000 to support your business and make your dream come true. Here is what you have to do to be a part of the Kir Jula Challenge. Fill the form online at www.gcci.gm and submit. Contestants that meet the basic criteria will be categorized in sectors and go through auditions at the different regions of the Gambia, all happening live on QTV. Deadline for submission of applications will now be on Saturday, 15th October 2022 at 11:59 p.m. 18 winners will be identified and awarded a prize money of $1.5 million. For more information about the Kir Jula Challenge, please send an email to kjc@gcci.gm. Better still, please call 5900-916. The Kir Jula Challenge is supported by the International Labour Organization, the Gambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and QCell.
It's Wednesday, the 28th of September 2022, and live on West Coast Radio 92.1 in the Gambia, it's coffee time with me, Peter Gomez. We're also online at www.wcr.gm. 7 minutes past 8 o'clock is our time. Honorable Lamin Sise has slammed the government for not doing enough for youth employment. He believes the government has failed the next generation and wants it to consider paying better wages and creating more good jobs. The member for Kiang West spoke in an exclusive and wide-ranging interview with our Esa Ba. In this excerpt, he is asked what he thinks is responsible for the recent spate of killings involving young people.
So many factors are responsible. High rate of unemployment, of course, is one of the contributing factors to the high crime rates in the country today. Because if youths are sitting down, they are not employed, they don't have an opportunity to venture into businesses, they don't also have an opportunity to work in public offices, what would they do? And they need to live, they need to survive. It puts them to drug addictions, the drug abuse, and it puts them to criminologies, breaking into people's house for them to have survival. Some are into it unwillingly, some are into it conditionally. So I think employment is something that government should factor out and employ the youth. Create an avenue for their employment. Create a source of livelihood activity for them. Is this going to be a skill? Is it going to be a heavy farm where they're going to work and at the end of the day they can get a monthly salary of $25,000? This is what we really need. If they are in the street, you are employing them and giving them a wages of $5,000 before the end of the month fair is finished. $5,000 is finished. So in order for us to reduce the high crime rates and the drug addiction among the youth age in this country is to create employment for them. And unemployment rate is getting higher and higher every day. Another factor is our youth are being deported every single night. So the government should prepare for this, to accommodate them, to incorporate them in the society. Some of them have been away for over 10 years, for 5 years, for 6 years. They are already been adapted to the culture where they're coming from. And when they come here, they need to live. How do you expect them to live? And the saddest thing is, look at the number of drugs that were apprehended in the Gambia border here, in the Gambia ports. This is harmful to the youth community. Because how many youths are going to be involved into drug addiction now? The country is not looking at this. This is not about rating the country, when it comes to drug trafficking or whatever. It's about the youth community. How many youth are going to be involved into drugs now? Into drug addiction? Some of the youths that we're seeing that are stabbing other friends and others, some of them are not conscious during the time. So I think the government should factor these things out, and unless that is done, the crime rate will get increased, drug addiction will be increased, unless the youth are removed from the street and being engaged into fruitful livelihood activities where they can earn a decent living and live decently.
You stress that the youth are being unempowered, which is, causing all these crimes in the country. Most of these crimes, let me say. So, do you think the future is bright for the youth in the Gambia?
It's vice versa. There has to be right and responsibility. The youth should also take charge, take ownership of the destiny, so we can make a change. It doesn't really mean we only have to say, I'd rather die in the sea than to live in my own country. It's too painful to hear the word from a youth. to say, I'd rather die in the Mediterranean than to live in my own country. That's so sad. You know how many skill centers we have across the country? Few. But even in those few, some youth of those local communities are refusing to go to those skill centers. And those skill centers have been built for us. So it's vice versa. We have to take charge of the responsibility. Let's come into leadership. And they are standing back. They are saying politics is a nasty gem. How can politics be nasty gem? You can be nasty, your attitude, your actions can be nasty, but politics as a practice is in Islam. Islam has politics. Any religion has politics. It cannot be nasty as a game. Leadership cannot be nasty. So youths are pushing themselves away from the national leadership. They are pushing themselves away from politics. Our politics is being taken care of by the old age. Our leadership is being taken care of by the old age. Who's to decide on our behalf? I think that's wrong. We have to be part and parcel of it.
That was Honorable Lamin Sise of Kiang West. Now, to hear the full interview, go to our website and click on the Coffee Time with Peter Gomez link. Meanwhile, the member for Nyanija has called on the government to make insurance compensation for accident victims mandatory, just as it is mandatory for vehicles to be insured. In an article on traffic accidents in the Gambia, Honorable Kamara notes that there are many vehicles on our roads, almost all of them with insurance covers for both passengers and goods. But, he claims, it's very unfortunate that many victims are not benefiting from any compensation, as many insurance companies are not fulfilling their mandate. The Nyanija lawmaker also called for more road signs as a way of reducing accidents in the Gambia, and for vehicles older than 20 years to be banned from importation to the Gambia. Coffee Time with Peter Gomez. We'll have more news after the break.
By building the largest international conference center in the region, a 5-star hotel with state-of-the-art facilities, first-class mobility services, and improving the VVIP experience at the Banjul International Airport, OIC Gambia will position the Gambia as the leading conference destination in West Africa. With our partners in the tourism sector, we will reinforce the preeminent position of our nation, the Smiling Coast, as a go-to destination. The OIC Gambia will create strategic partnerships that calls for the involvement of local talent and businesses as a matter of requirement. In short, OIC Gambia projects will create jobs, boost commerce, accelerate growth, improve the urban outlook and lifestyles of many families across the Gambia. So let's support the OIC Gambia as it prepares us for one of the biggest global events. OIC Gambia, building today for a better tomorrow.
Gambia, this is great news. Do you have a good business plan? Do you have what it takes to be the next big entrepreneur? If your answer is yes, then the Gambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry, GCCI, will make this dream come true. GCCI presents for the first time ever televised business plan competition, also known as the Kir Jula Challenge. Imagine winning seed capital from $50,000 to $150,000 to support your business and make your dream come true. Here is what you have to do to be a part of the Kir Jula Challenge. Fill the form online at www.gcci.gm and submit. Contestants that meet the basic criteria will be categorized in sectors and go through auditions at the different regions of the Gambia, all happening live on QTV. Deadline for submission of applications will now be on Saturday, 15th October 2022 at 11:59 p.m. 18 winners will be identified and awarded a prize money of $1.5 million. For more information about the Kir Jula Challenge, please send an email to kjc@gcci.gm. Better still, please call 5900-916. The Kir Jula Challenge is supported by the International Labour Organization, the Gambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and QCell.
The Gambia Revenue Authority wishes to inform the general public that any person who disposes a capital asset in the Gambia is liable to pay capital gains tax. Capital assets include land, machinery, company shares, interest in partnership, etc. It does not include depreciable assets and stock in trade. Also, any Gambian resident who sells a capital asset outside the Gambia is liable to pay capital gains tax. The rate charged depends on whether the disposal is made by an individual, a company, partnership, trustee, etc. For individuals, the capital gains tax rate is 15% of the gains or 5% of the consideration, whichever is higher. For companies, partnerships, trustees, etc., the rate is 25% of the gains. or 10% of the consideration, whichever is higher. It is worthy to note that the seller of the disposed capital asset bears the responsibility for the payment of the capital gains tax. Pay your taxes to build a nation.
Finally, a luxury car garage in the Gambia with an experienced mechanic working according to stringent best practice standards. At Global Auto Care, all activities are carried out in time and at an exceptional standard because we're in partnership with Central Technique Automobile in Dakar. So taking your car to Global Auto Care is putting your car in the care of mechanics with proven ability in vehicle, electrical and hydraulic systems, fault diagnostics and repair. Global Auto Care is right by the Mobile Traffic Police Headquarters in Canifing. For more information, send an email to globalautocare@gmail.com or call on 268-1044 in the Gambia or our Dakar partner on +221 769 047 525. Global Auto Care. Your car in the best care.
Do you get nervous when asked to speak in public? Do you get butterflies in your stomach? Do you avoid eye contact with people when giving a speech? Do you want to develop the art of thinking on your feet and thought processes that make you bring passion to every talk, presentation, and speech that you give? What does it take to become an effective public speaker? You can be trained, you can be coached, and you can be mentored. Join us at the Forbes Academy. We are here for all aspiring public speakers to help you transform your desire into skill. I am Pastor Forbes, CEO and lead trainer. For full details, send us an email on contact@forbesacademy.net or send us a WhatsApp message on +220 346 2155. Come, join the wonderful world of public speaking and become a good, a great, and a global public speaker.
Welcome back, and if you'd like to advertise on Coffee Time with Peter Gomez, get in touch on 787-0107 or 999-0107. Our time, 18 minutes past 8. The West African Health Organization, WEHO, is supporting the Gambia's health rapid response by training members of the rapid response team, ESABA reports.
In order to strengthen the medical clinical care capabilities of the Gambia Rapid Response Team for an effective response to health emergency, the West Africa Health Organization, WAHO, with support from the World Health Organization, on Tuesday began a 3-day emergency medical team awareness workshop, which brought together key health workers, including clinicians and public health officers from different parts of the country. Given that the Gambia, like all other countries around the globe, had and still continue to be confronted with the outbreak of the pandemic over the years, prompting a health emergency response, recent weeks have also seen the Gambia embark into more emergency mechanisms due to the disaster caused by huge flooding and torrential rainfalls and the acute kidney injury affecting children in the country, thus making the workshop a timely one. Mr. Sejno Kataraya of the West Africa Health Organization briefly gave an account on what the work of the emergency medical care is.
And let me say that the emergency medical team is a component of clinical care that will augment our standard case management pillar to ensure a comprehensive and effective public health response. So it's a group of professionals providing direct care to people affected by disaster, outbreak, and emergency.
Mr. Lazaro Martinez from the World Health Organization, upon calling on the participants to be proactive and asked all the important questions, said the Gambia's current health emergency concept is extremely new.
The concept is extremely new. The concept is almost a trend across the world. And even for us, we are surprised when someone, country or person comes to tell us the experience they have is completely new. Just to tell something, there was an important discussion these last days because our conceptions of emergency was very close. And the emergency Gambia is happening right now, this acute kidney injury, doesn't fit properly to our classification. So we were compulsory to go and review our classification. So if someone asks you what kind of emergency acute kidney injury is, it's very difficult to classify. And from there, we will compulsorily to move our concept to other concepts which are...
Before officially declaring the 3-day training open, Karamba Keita, Deputy Permanent Secretary Technical at the Ministry of Health, called for a stronger network and collaboration between the public health officers and clinicians to avoid failing the population.
But in those days, you can start off School of Public Health and you end up with School of Nursing. Or you start School of Nursing, you end up with School of Public Health. But like what I'm just trying to emphasize here, the moment the public health and the clinicians are not working together, we are failing the population. On that note, this emergency medical team, let us take it very, very seriously. And it's not a mistake in having a mix, as I said. We want the understanding, and we want the understanding to come from this hall, and you go with it to your facilities, and then we work together. Without us working together, we are going to fail our population.
Participant Noha Fofana, field epidemiologist working with the Epidemiology and Disease Control Unit at the Ministry of Health, highlighted how the awareness training would enhance their work.
The world has recognized the importance of a multi-sectoral approach when it comes to responding to public health emergencies. So usually participation of various stakeholders, meaning the full participation of various stakeholders in responding to public health emergencies, is a bit of concern, sometimes in our country. So this will actually strengthen the various stakeholders to really know and appreciate how important they are when it comes to public health emergency, and also to make sure they give their best in responding to public health emergencies as a team and not as individuals.
This latest awareness workshop is the 13th edition in this region, as the other 12 editions were done in other ECOWAS countries in the past.
And that was Esaba reporting. Now, Uganda declared an Ebola outbreak last Tuesday after a case of the relatively rare Sudan strain was detected in one district. The virus has now spread to other districts, with the Ugandan Health Ministry reporting that cumulative cases have risen to 36, including confirmed and probable cases. No cases have been detected in the capital, Kampala. Today, the 28th of September, is World Rabies Day, a UN observance dedicated to raising awareness of the spread and impact of rabies worldwide. Dr. Keba Dafe is a veterinarian and animal rights activist who will be involved in activities to mark the day later. He's on the line now. Good morning, Dr. Dafe. How serious a problem is rabies in the Gambia to warrant us observing the day?
Good morning, and thank you very much, Peter. Good morning to everyone. Rabies is a very serious problem in the Gambia. Our children are dying of dog-mediated rabies. Even this year, a child died in West Coast region as a result of rabies. So rabies is definitely prevalent in this country.
When I was much younger, we used to see a lot of dogs around. I hardly see, a roaming dog these days. So really, where is the problem prevalent? Out in the outlying areas in the provinces?
It's almost everywhere. Maybe you don't see dogs in some of these areas, but definitely the vaccination rate is very low. Even the dogs that are at home, people need to do more when it comes to vaccinating their dogs. Rabies is actually everywhere. I knew of children dying in this country of rabies. Just an year or two ago, another child died in LRR. And then before that, there was also a child who was bitten by a dog in Brikama. And then there was a visit to Senegal with the parents, not related to the dog bite. But in Senegal, the child showed signs and symptoms, taken to the hospital, and the doctors declared that it was a rabies case. It's unfortunate. It's everywhere. We don't have exact data about dog bites. Maybe the public health people are collecting the data on dog bites, and I'm sure at the level of hospitals, they might also be collecting data on the actual numbers of rabies cases and their occurrence in the country. It might be grossly underreported, but it is prevalent in this country, definitely.
As I said, growing up as a child in Banjul and Dipakunda, we used to see a lot of dogs around, but equally, health officials used to go around periodically vaccinating these dogs. I mean, is dog vaccination still happening in this country?
Yes, they are happening in this country, thanks to some charities that we have in the Gambia, animal welfare charities, like Gambia Cats. It was the first registered animal welfare charity in this country. It has been organizing free vaccinations against rabies for a number of years. And now the lead charity is the Gambia Horse and Donkey Trust. The Gambia Horse and Donkey Trust used to focus a lot on horses and donkeys, but now its mandate has increased to cover other species of animals, and rabies control is now very key in the mandate of Gambia Horse and Donkey Trust. In fact, Gambia Horse and Donkey Trust has been conducting World Rabies Day events in this country for a number of years, and this year also we will be doing the same.
And just
we
before
will
you
be conducting,
and just before you tell us, what activities you'll be conducting later, what does rabies do to a person who has rabies? How do they suffer?
Rabies is an excruciating disease. It is caused by the bite of a rabid dog. And once the bite is inflicted, the rabies virus is present in the saliva of the dog. So through the peripheral nerves, the virus travels to the spinal cord and then to the brain. When it reaches the brain, it multiplies and then causes inflammation of the brain, encephalitis. And this is the point of no return. When it reaches that point, there is no way the patient will die as a result of rabies. It is characterized by hydrophobia, that is the fear of water. A rabies patient will not get near water, not to talk of drinking it. And then there is typical madness symptoms, similar to the behavior of the mad dog. There is hypersalivation, typical change in behavior, incoordination, paralysis, and death. Rabies patients die within 10 days. When the signs and symptoms of rabies are evident, the patient would not live more than 10 days. So it is one of the most deadliest diseases known to mankind.
And possibly one of the most painful as well. And in terms of your activities later, very quickly, you have 1 minute. What do you plan to do today?
We plan to conduct anti-rabies vaccinations across the country. People will bring their dogs to certain centers where they will be offered free anti-rabies vaccination. Also, some medications are offered during the free rabies clinics. There will be teams in Brikama, Gunjur, Ghanatown, Bakau, Amdalai, Eseu, Sambelkunda, Abuko, Makasoto, Makasader, etc. So it means this year it's a countrywide program actually occurring simultaneously. Our people are now on the ground and the vaccination has already started.
We'll have to leave it at that, Dr. Dafe. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
We were talking there to Dr. Keba Dafe, a veterinarian and animal rights activist.
Gambia, this is great news. Do you have a good business plan? Do you have what it takes to be the next big entrepreneur? If your answer is yes, then the Gambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry, GCCI, will make this dream come true. GCCI presents for the first time ever televised business plan competition, also known as the Kir Jula Challenge. Imagine winning seed capital from $50,000 to $150,000 to support your business and make your dream come true. Here is what you have to do to be a part of the Kir Jula Challenge. Fill the form online online at www.gcci.gm and submit. Contestants that meet the basic criteria will be categorized in sectors and go through auditions at the different regions of the Gambia, all happening live on QTV. Deadline for submission of applications will now be on Saturday, 15th October 2022 at 11:59 p.m. 18 winners will be identified and awarded a prize money of $1.5 million. For more information about the Kerjula Challenge, please send an email to kjc@gcci.gm. Better still, please call 5900916. The Kerjula Challenge is supported by the International Labour Organization, the Gambia Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and QCell.
20% extra megabyte bonus from Gamcell Yai Borong.
20% bonus
on every data bundles you buy.
So you mean if you buy 500 megabytes at a cost of $150, you get 100 megabytes extra bonus?
Yes, exactly. That's what I mean. And if you buy 1,500 megabytes at a cost of $255, you get extra 300 megabytes. Buy 50, 100, 200, 500, and so on. I just bought 1,000 and got my 200 extra megabytes bonus. Just buy your credit from any of our Gamcell branches or agents and dial *302 amount has and send to get your bundle with your extra 20% bonus.
Yes, you've heard it. Keep on browsing and enjoy Gamcell's 20% megabytes bonus on every purchase you make.
Gamcell, Yai Borong.
Guineans have waited 13 years for the trial of former junta leader Musa Dadis Camara and others held responsible for an appalling massacre committed on the 28th of September 2009. That time has come. Later today, victims and relatives will head to a brand new court in Conakry, where the trial of Captain Camara and 10 former officials will open, barring a last-minute adjournment. The court is just a few kilometers from the September the 28th stadium, where soldiers, police and militiamen cut down opposition supporters and sympathizers. On that day and the next, according to a UN report, 156 people were slaughtered and thousands injured, while at least 109 women were raped. The actual numbers are probably higher. And with that, we end this program and leave the stage for Teres and her business show. Thanks for listening and goodbye.